So guys, this is probably going to look like one of my laziest videos because I have to use my MacBook camera because my phone is dead and my DSLR is acting up on me. So we're going to be using this MacBook camera here. My glasses are all plugged in. Anyways, let's talk about this video right now. I took a poll of my friends on Facebook and I asked them how many of, I guess, you people out there believe in climate change. Okay? The real numbers I have here, I had 25 people vote, so to speak, which isn't much, but I just put it out this morning. 23 of the people who voted believe in climate change, and 2 of the people who voted believe that it's not real. So that's 92% who believe in climate change and 8.08%. Disregard what I just said. 8% who don't believe in climate change. Now, that's kind of a big number. If you were to put that to scale with 300 million people in the United States, you'd get, different answers, of course. So 92% believe in it and 8% don't believe in it. Start off with that. Now let's start off with what is climate change. And the definition for climate change, is the warming of the Earth's global temperature starting from the 19th century until present. Okay, and it has warmed up. It's warmed up gradually. It's warmed up about 0.4 degrees Celsius already. Now, the Goldilocks zone that we're trying to keep it under, which, if anybody recalls, back in 2015, there was a Paris summit of like 164 countries who came together in an coalition to keep that temperature under 2 degrees Celsius, or the temperature raised under 2 degrees Celsius, Now, that's still going to do some damage, but in a time frame that we have, that's the best that we can do right away. Just for info for you, a 2 degree temperature rise, that's when you'll start seeing the Gulf Stream warm up. Now the ocean temperature has only risen about 0.17 degrees Celsius, so it isn't rising that much, but it is rising enough to affect the coral reefs of the ocean and its ecosystems. Now, I don't know if anybody heard this, but this year it was stated that 93% of the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, by Australia, has already been bleached, which means it's already died, so to speak. That's crazy because that's the biggest stretch of reef on the planet. Now, 75% of the Earth's total coral reefs have been affected by the 0.17 Celsius degree temperature switch. Now, I'm not sure if that number is exactly right because it has changed. These were some older numbers I was looking at, I believe. And the warming ocean temperatures not only affects the coral reef, but it also affects our ice caps up north and the ice caps down south. And with those melting, sea levels naturally rise because they're pumping out millions and millions of gallons of water into the sea, which is fresh water, which is being tinted as it mixes up with the salt water. Another effect of this is that the colder fresh water that comes in and mixes up with the warmer ocean water causes the ocean currents to switch up. So think of the Atlantic Ocean. We have America over here. This is going to be backwards. So America is over here, if you're watching, and Africa is over here. And in between this space is the currents of the Atlantic Ocean. Up here up here is Greenland. So with the rising temperatures, the waters that is melting from the glaciers and ice caps up here by Greenland in the North Pole, the cool water mixes up with the warmer Antarctic currents, and it throws everything out of whack. So instead of a constant circle, we're going to constant circle with something flowing in it, and it's going to throw it off kilter. Now, a misconception of climate change is that everything warms up. What's really going to happen is everything on the equator will warm up significantly, while everything, not everything, but Europe, from the ocean currents getting switched up, Europe will actually cool a few degrees, which, just like a rise in temperature, is still as catastrophic. So we talked about, the currents of the Earth getting mixed up. Let's talk about how much sea levels will rise. Okay, so within the next 80 years, 85 years, scientists expect sea level rises between 2.5 to 6.5 feet. That is quite a lot, and that's within this century that's coming up here. Now, a lot of people, like I said in the beginning, believe in climate change, while some people just don't think it's happening. Now, 98% of scientists believe that climate change is real, and about 89% of those believe that it's due to us. So there's a large population of scientists out there who believe that this is our fault. So let's think about sea levels right now, and we'll get back to the temperature rising here in a second. The sea levels, as stated before, can be expected to grow between 2.5 feet to 6.5 feet. This, my American friends, and all people around the globe, if anybody watches around the globe, in the United States, this is going to cause our eastern cities, which New York, Atlantic City, Miami, all of Miami-Dade, pretty much along the Atlantic Ocean there, will be submerged in about 3.5 feet of water. About at least up to half a mile inland. So all the condominiums along the beaches there, they're all going to be under 3.5 feet of water. And we've seen this before in Sandy. The ocean rose up about 2.5, 3 feet during the storm, and that caused massive flooding. And if the sea levels rise, it's going to be constant massive flooding, not just a one-time thing. So the cities of Miami, New York City prominently, will be, washed away at least half a mile inland. And that is going to cost billions of dollars to repair, if we want to repair it. But then why repair it if it's just going to constantly stay that way? Let's talk about the temperatures rising again, okay? With the ocean temperatures rising and the mixture of the colder caps, the caps melting, the colder fresh water mixing in with the salt water, this causes more violent storms, because storms are, they come from warmer temperatures, warmer sea temperatures, excuse me. So hurricanes and tropical storms, hurricanes and typhoons, will be very, a lot stronger and a lot more frequent, which we can see already. So that's another side effect of global warming, which we call climate change now. Now, let's talk about Earth's temperature rising, not the sea temperature. Let's talk about the actual land temperature and air temperature. I stated before that we want to keep the temperature within that 2 degrees Celsius rise. We don't want to go any far above that, because things will definitely get crazy. I'm going to show a little picture here, hopefully, that it's going to show the temperature rise on the equator, which NASA predicts will rise within this century. So that's 80-some years. And we'll notice that along the equator here, you'll see where it's red And that means that the temperatures there are going to be, that's where the temperatures are really going to rise. And that's where pretty much the United States, along with Africa, the Middle East, China even, will see great, temperature rises. And this can cause areas which we live in right now that are on the brink of being uninhabitable, such as the Southwest, the Vegas, the Phoenix, those areas could potentially become uninhabitable because the temperatures could get, most summer days now, they're getting up in the 115, 120 range. Now, with 2 degrees Celsius, we can add on, 5, 6 degrees onto that, so it's going to be 120 to 120, between 125. That is uninhabitable. I don't care how many, air conditioners that we have. That is not going to cut it. And just along, the Middle East and Africa, they're going to be experiencing an even worse drought than now. And India will be experiencing a worse drought than they already are. Now, on the subject of droughts, we're seeing this in our own state of California, which, 99.82% of California is experiencing a drought, which means, what's that, like 0.18% is actually not experiencing a drought right now. And we see this because, the lack of rain, the droughts cause massive wildfires, which we saw this year. So it's happening. It's just the people, we need to see that it's actually, we need to accept that it's actually occurring. And that is what's tough for people. Now, let's stay on the temperature topic for just a second here. My glasses are fudged up, it looks like. Since the Industrial Revolution, we've had the hottest years in this last decade, since the Industrial Revolution. So 2001 to 2010 were the hottest years ever recorded since the Industrial Revolution. And this next decade, the 20s, I guess we're in the aughts right now, right? These years, each year, 2014 was the hottest on record. 2015 broke 2014's record. And after we collect all the data for 2016, we can project that it's going to break 2015's record. So it's going to be the hottest year on record that we've had. These things are happening, okay? I was watching, some documentaries I was binge watching on Hulu. Great documentaries. Years of Lived Nature is on the National Geographic Channel, so if anybody checks on that, they'll get a lot of information. Along with Before the Flood, which is a movie documentary by Leonardo DiCaprio on the raising of the Earth's temperature. It's a great movie as well. They go into great detail, more than I did in this video. But these things are happening, and the way we combat these, the raising in temperature, is that we unfortunately have to get off our dependence on fossil fuels, which a lot of people don't want to do. And I understand that because fossil fuels account for billions and billions of dollars of the economy, not only in the United States but around the globe. And I mentioned this in the beginning, we had a Paris meeting, I guess it was. There was a big, coalition of 164 countries, I believe it was, who got together in Paris and talked about ways to change, the outcome. These are good ideas, but they won't actually take effect unless we promise to, make these changes. And that's something that's going to be hard to do because, like I said, the fossil fuel business is billions and billions of dollars of revenue for our economy. We have to look at ourselves and at the Earth, the trends, because not only does rising temperatures, cause sea level, but the rising temperatures are going to affect the droughts, which then affects the crops. And a fun fact for you here, 70% of the methane gas, that is greenhouse gas, that is pumped into the atmosphere comes from our crops. And the main crop that produces this 70% of methane is the beef industry. Because when cattle graze, they eat and then they burp up the methane and then they, poop out the methane, fart and all that fun stuff. So 70% of our cattle industry is the word escaped me. 70% of the cattle industry is causing, you know, excuse me, I got lost here. 70% of the methane gas is coming from our cattle industry. Excuse me, sorry about that. So we got to rethink those kind of issues too, not just, the kind of energy we're using, which is fossil fuels, natural gas, and coal. And then we got to think of the way we grow our crops. Because our crops are also, throwing into these, the greenhouse gases, which is causing the rise in temperatures. So that's as far as I'm going to get into this today. I just wanted to throw you some facts here, just to kind of get the cogs spinning in your mind. So if you liked the video, go ahead and give it a like. If you didn't like it, give it a dislike. If you like my content, which is, I'm trying to make it for the everyday people. If you like my content, go ahead and click the subscribe button, which is down here, I believe. Right down there. And then, tell your friends about it. Like it, comment, tell your friends about it, subscribe. So I can keep putting out more content like this, because on these issues, they really make a difference to me, because we, as the generation that I'm in now, are going to be the ones who make the greatest change. So we have to be the ones who understand these issues. And I hope these videos can kind of help my friends out. So thanks again, guys, for watching. Hopefully you learned something here. 2 days from now, I'll be uploading another video on teen pregnancy, my thoughts and opinions on that. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check that one out here in 2 days. So on Friday, and have a great, safe night. The election's over. We have a new president. Everybody knows who that is. I am slightly upset, but it is what it is. I'm going to roll with it. So thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you have a great night. Hopefully you liked the video. We will catch you next time.